Highly anticipated annual gameplay breakdown video. We're going to be going over everything gameplay related inside this video when it comes to NBA 2K26.
Oh, this is the gameplay?
We'll be talking about the
Ooh.
no RNG pure green window shooting from both 3-point and mid-range. We're going to be talking about the new custom layups and how consistent we think
I'm not gonna hold y'all, bro. This shit looks smooth as fuck, bro. This shit look hella smooth, bro. Just like
the new dunk meter. We're able to see the green window again, but is it any good? We're going to be talking about dribbling,
bro, this shit looks smooth as fuck, bro. Bro, I'm excited to play this shit, bro. I'm excited to play this shit. No cap, bro. I can't wait.
Hall build speed boost again. Of course, we've got to cover on-ball defense for all you locks out there. Paint defense, rebounding. We got everything you need when it comes to 2K26 gameplay. I'm also going to be posting some unedited, raw, full game online user versus user gameplay here shortly, so stay on the lookout for that. But take a second, drop a like on the video for me. Let's try to get this video to 20,000 likes, and let's get into this NBA 2K26 gameplay breakdown. All right, first things first, all the play now clips in this video are on Hall of Fame difficulty. We're going to start off with some dribbling in the Learn 2K core. I don't know what the difficulty was on in there because whites were going in, but the play now clips are all on Hall of Fame. All right, let's start this off with dribbling. A lot of questions to be answered here, a lot of clips here for you to enjoy. Let's talk about it. First thing to remember, these are NBA players. They do not have optimized SIGs. You cannot change their SIGs. They have whatever they have. Durant has Durant SIGs. De'Aaron Fox has De'Aaron Fox SIGs, etc. But the gameplay you're going to see tomorrow, I can't really speak on it, but it's with the My Players, and in the test builder, you could change your SIGs, and it is a night and day difference from how the NBA players move to how you can move when you're able to change your SIGs. But this will give you at least a general idea of how it looks and, you know, how people are bursting. And obviously I know a lot of people from my channel are going to be like, bro, like, are the big builds bursting again? And yes, you can speed boost on big builds. It's a night and day difference between 2K25.
We speed boost on big builds? Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah. My 6'10" power forward finna go crazy.
And 2K26. And people might say, oh, what about the small guards? And yes, the small guards can fly. They can really chain stuff together. People are definitely going to find some glitchy stuff. You see, you could spam behind the backs. You can spam escapes. There's some really, really good launchy behind the backs now, and you can start to combo those with like explosive behind the backs and momentum behind the backs. And you see, I mean, that's 6'11" Kevin Durant changing directions on a dime. You guys are starting to see some of the momentum crossovers. Now, I do want to mention, there's only so many hours in the day at Community Day that you can't really like fully focus on everything. And my boy Young Dirk was really focused on dribbling, so he sent me all these clips in the Learn 2K. So I'm gonna leave the link to his dribble tutorial down below if you want to see more about dribbling after you finish this video. But shout out to Young Dirk for hooking me up with the clips. I did get some dribble clips, but like I wasn't going to spend a few hours on it when I knew other people were doing it. I wanted to focus on other areas of the game so we could get as much information as possible. But what's really nice to see is all these different NBA players have different dribble styles. You know, like Curry has his, Fox has his, Kevin Durant has his, Jimmy Butler has his, etc. And they can all speed boost. And that's just a breath of fresh air, because I feel like in past 2Ks, it was like only 1 or 2 dribble styles could really burst cleanly. So it was like you were forced to use them. Now there's probably going to end up being like a couple that are better than all the other ones, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like before, it was like no matter what, if you weren't using Darius Garland last year, you had a hitch run out or just you had a no burst run out of dribble moves. It looks like there's multiple dribble styles now that can burst. And again, this isn't even with optimal SIGs to go with the dribble style. This is just what the NBA players have on. So just wait till tomorrow when y'all can see how the My Players are moving. Now, I'm definitely interested in your thoughts on the dribbling from what you've seen here. So get your comments in down below and let's start the discussion. That is the Scottie Pippen behind the back that Mike was talking about. You know, they added some more explosive kind of behind the back dribble moves into the game. And that Scottie definitely launches you forward. There's all
hey, bro, it looked like for bigs, bro, they having more boosts to dribble, it seemed like, bro.
Also, I think the Kobe White one felt pretty good. I was experimenting with it. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably want my opinion on dribbling, so here it is. I spent a fraction of the time dribbling as other creators, like Dirk and Koza and other creators. They spent majority of the day dribbling. I spent probably 20-30 minutes, tried it out, and then went to go get other information. But here's what I felt. It felt much more explosive than last year.
If you've been thinking about a degree in cybersecurity or IT, UMGC is waiving their application fee.
Felt much more.
And I'll subscribe to, bro. Oh, I'm not, I thought I'd been subscribed to him. Oh, my bad. I thought I'd been subscribed. First part game? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dynamic and like you could
First
like you had
part
more
game.
burst, you had more pop
Yeah,
with the
we
ball
gotta
in your
watch that too,
hands.
y'all.
It felt
I
like
ain't
you could
gonna
chain
hold
things
y'all.
together much more quickly.
I thought I was been
And
subscribed
most
to him.
importantly for me personally, it just felt more fun. Now I understand the bar for 2K25 was set extremely low, so to say it was better or more fun than that is like, well, you know, you're not really saying much, which I get, but it's just how I felt. Like dribbling there, I was like, damn, like this feels a lot more enjoyable than what I was doing the last 12 months on 2K25. So we'll see how the game feels at the official launch date. Because remember last year, people at Community Day found certain ways to speed
I
boost
get
dribbling
paid
wise,
next
and then it
week.
was removed by the time the actual game came out. So hopefully that's not the case this year. Hopefully all this
buying
stuff people are
2K.
finding and ways to burst and
2K come out. Oh, come on next Friday. Bet.
be dynamic and be explosive
I'll
off
be
the
buying
dribble.
2K.
Hopefully all that stuff
I'll be
is there
buying
at
2K.
launch, and then we could really dive into it as a community and find some crazy stuff. But that's enough about dribbling. Let's move on to some other gameplay aspects. All right, let's talk about shooting and shot contests. Got a bunch of clips here. Some are going to be open, some contested, some green, some miss. Want y'all to just take a look at it, and I'm gonna just let it play, and you guys can kind of start to assess, you know, how the shooting looks, how the contest system looks, and get your thoughts down below in the comments. I will say a few things. I know people are gonna ask about RNG and the pure green window and how did it feel and blah blah blah. Obviously, it's just a few, you know, hours that I was playing the game, because I also had to get, you know, my builder stuff done and all that. But the green window definitely felt more precise. Like when you got it right, it was green, but when you got it wrong, it was earlier, it was late. Like you were like, it was like if you were slightly off, it was doinking. So when I talked to Mike in that interview I did with him, he explained it, if he could compare it to anything, was like a more skill-based 2K24 shooting system. And I could kind of see where he's coming from, just because of, you know, yes, you have the pure green window, but it is, you got to be more precise than you were on 24. And that I did feel that. Now, obviously, it's just a few hours. We'll see how it plays out when the game actually drops. But another thing that was noticeable was player height really matters still on the shooting. You know, taller builds definitely shoot over people and, you know, get contested less than the shorter builds. And Kevin Durant was an absolute god because of that. I mean, KD was insane on this. All right, we're going to switch gears over to mid-range a little bit here. And I'll be honest with you, the mid-range felt really, really good. Tested it with KD, Shea. I think there's maybe like a Curry clip, a Luka clip. Like definitely shot a few middies here and there, but was definitely using it a lot with Kevin Durant, just trying to just see how the contest system was registering. I had somebody using Shea on the other team, and then I was using KD, and we basically tested mid-ranges for like good 10, 15 minutes straight. They feel really, really good. I know they were good on 25. They feel really good on 26. And again, the height thing, I know I'm harping on it a lot, but like
height matters.
You start to see how people are, you know, you saw in the dribbling in the beginning of this video, right? Like people are able to move now on the bigger players, and that wasn't even my players. Like I said, that was NBA players, and you were still bursting and doing all that. Then you combine it with the fact that you're really like shooting over people in terms of that advantage. Like you might actually see a back and forth this year of small guards and big guards both being viable again. I think overall for the game, that would be beautiful. A little bit more build diversity, a little bit more play style diversity. Now, what I will say about shot contests is they definitely felt stronger than 2K25. 2K25 to me felt like you were kind of praying for a contest. Like 90% of stuff just registered open. It didn't feel like that on this game. It definitely felt stronger, but not stronger to the point where ghost contests were happening like in past 2Ks. If a dude had his hand down, especially against a guy like Durant who's so tall, but even other players that we tested like Shea and stuff, it would say open if their hand was down. So if they reached and you shot it, it said open. If they jump, but they were, you know, super late getting out to you, it would still say open. If you created enough space, like on that fade over Chet right there, it says open. But then if they, you know, if they're under you and they get a hand in your face or near where the ball was, or they jump in time to get there before you release the ball, they'd register some type of contest. Now let's talk about rhythm shooting, the new rhythm shooting system, right? Apparently you only have to green the tempo. And that is confirmed because you're about to see a couple clips of it. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna be honest. You know, apparently if you don't green the timing, it makes it harder to green the tempo. But as long as you just green the tempo, it still goes in. And I'll be honest, Without the meter, it's kind of like, man, he's making whites is kind of what I feel like, you know, even though I understand the system is different. But when you turn the meter on and see it visually, I mean, I'll be honest. It hurts my soul. I'm like, bro, this dude is making a 3/4 bar shot, but I understand the logic is different now. But I think we're all like ingrained in the 2K25 rhythm shooting system. Let me know your comments down below. Let's talk quick about perimeter defense bumps. You see right here, Lu Dort cuts off Kevin Durant coming up the court, and they get a physical body up cut off like bump animation. If someone's moving, if a dribbler is moving and you cut them off, you will get a bump, physical body up bump. But a big difference I noticed was on 2K25, if someone was standstill dribbling at the top of the key, you could just like press against them and interrupt that dribble sequence. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible to interrupt someone's standstill dribble sequence, because obviously I just tested it in the limited amount of time that I had, but it definitely felt night and day difference to 25. 25 felt like if someone's dribbling, you know, on the perimeter standstill, you could just basically run up to them, smash into them, and interrupt their whole dribble combo, and it would put their player in like a bump animation. Didn't feel like that on this game until they started moving. Once they started to try to burst past you left or right, or try to drive to the basket or whatever, then if you were running with them, then there would be some type of body up collision. But we'll have to see, you know, how that plays out throughout the year, but it definitely was a noticeable difference in my opinion. Last quick thing for perimeter defense bumps, off the little push cross here into the defender's leg, lose the ball. I know a lot of people are like anti push cross, anti De'Aaron Fox crossover. Well, position yourself correctly, you could be knocking that ball free without even having to reach. All right, let's talk about layups. We know custom layups and slow-mo Euros and all this new layup stuff they're adding, so let's talk about it. Layups definitely felt much improved from 2K25, but that's not saying much. Layups were pretty awful in 2K25. Size matters. You saw that one right there with Giannis. You're going to see some with Trey, Luka. Size matters in terms of getting contested. It felt like the bigger players definitely could go up with more 50-50 takes, and the green window would stay a bit bigger than the smaller players. But overall, whether it was Trey, Luka, De'Aaron Fox, Giannis, whoever it was, being able to see the green window, I know it was an old feature. Like we had it in 2K24, then they got rid of it. They brought it back. I'm not hyping it up like, whoa, like this is, but it's just nice to be able to see it. Not only to help you know when to release the timing of the layup, but also so you know what's a good take and a bad take, and help you understand what you can and can't go up with. Now let's talk about driving dunks. All right, dunk meter. You know, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about this, so let's talk about it. First thing I'll say, size matters again. It felt like the bigger players got more consistent green windows. Some concerning things was I still feel like there's some kinks that need to be worked out in terms of the dunk meter. I have a couple of specific clips coming up here in just a second, and I did bring it to their attention, and I'm sure other people did as well at Community Day. And as we know, we saw last year, they definitely make changes after Community Day. You know, last year they nerfed builds and took out certain dribble speed boost animations and stuff, but check out a couple of these animations. You're gonna see me beat the defender, and or whoever I'm playing against gets past me, and we're just, you know, driving to the basket. Like right here, Ant Edwards slides through, has a clear path to the hoop by the time he goes up with the dunk, and the dunk window stays small. So that's a little alarming to me. I feel like I said, there's still some kinks to definitely work out. Like this one right here, it's a clean drive, blew by the defender, clean line at the hoop, but because like when I started the dunk, maybe the defender was still like pushed against me. I'm not really sure. Like I said, there's definitely some stuff to still fix. Yeah. But even with that being said, we were still getting some nice contact dunks at times. You know, sometimes the green windows were big, sometimes they were small, so definitely figuring out exactly how the logic works. But something I definitely like is when they take you out of the dunk meter, you turn it into a layup, and it's usually a pretty greenable layup. So I feel like that is a nice change. Instead of it just being like, I went up for a dunk meter, they took me out of the dunk meter, and now the play is cooked. It's like, nah, in real life, it's like, oh, I wanted to dunk it, but now I got hit, so I'm gonna, you know, adjust my body and be able to turn it into a layup type of thing. So we'll have to see how the dunk meter plays out. I'm not really sure if it's good or bad yet. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure. I need to see more, and I need to see what kind of changes are tweaked by the...
Don't just take classes.
Hey, the dunk meter, I think the dunk meter is going to
come back today at PurdueGlobal.edu.
Going to be a little something. This shit looks slow.
The time the game launches. Let's move on to interior defense and standing dunks. There's definitely some crazy interior defense animations. Like, look at this one by Rudy. My God. I mean, to be fair, it's Rudy and Wemby. They have great interior defense stats, but you could definitely get some crazy stops. Now, wide open standing meter dunks, you see how big the green window is. And then even like standing meter dunks against smaller defenders, like Wemby just, you know, going up over smaller defenders. See the size of the green window. It kind of feels like it's like you could get crazy stops, but you could also get crazy dunks. It's kind of, I'm not really sure. Like, we'll have to see how it plays out, but they both definitely felt viable. Like, if you timed when you were going to jump to get the stop, it's like you'd get a crazy ante. But you could also, if you went up with the standing dunk and they weren't entirely properly positioned, you would just boom it on them. Also, a little detail I noticed right here was as Joel was backing down Wemby, look at when Wemby jumped, his hand was behind, like Joel pinned him so deep in the dead zone that when he jumped, his hand hit the back of the backboard and it registered open. I feel like in past games, sometimes if you did that, it would still register a contest just because it was like, it thought you were supposed to be there, but you weren't actually there because you got stuck on the hoop. I don't know, just something like a small little detail I noticed. But you see the size of these standing dunk meters, you could definitely go crazy with the standing dunks, but then you also saw some of the paint stop animations I was getting. Is like you could definitely go crazy with the interior stops as well. Like here's one from Wemby. I mean, I'm not really sure which one's going to be better, but they both definitely felt viable, at least for the little bit that I tested them. Last thing, rebounding. You can turn off the green feedback in the player HUD. I did notice that. I know some people have been asking that, but as you can see here, you don't have to green the rebound to get it. You know, Mike has already talked about that, but just so people could be clear about that. And then even here, I'm on Jokic. I green the rebound and my teammate grabs it instead of me. So just because you green it doesn't mean you're automatically going to get it. But this is what the green feedback looks like. Figure we'll just touch on that real quick. But if you guys want to see raw, unedited footage of the first part game in NBA 2K26, we're not going to waste any time. We're jumping straight into it. Y'all asked for raw, unedited NBA 2K26 gameplay, and I got exactly that here for y'all. I'm actually still in the hotel room. I was just at community day for 12 hours in the builder and getting some gameplay for y'all, and as soon as I got back to the hotel room, we're already editing and, you know, getting on the mic to talk to y'all about it. So drop a like on the video for me. I really appreciate it. Let's try to get this video to 10,000 likes and let's talk about it. All right, I'm in the white jerseys. My team's white. Swag's in a black jersey. Swag is my pro-am team, and I play park with him for the last, I don't even know, 5-6 years. You know, me and Swag go way back. So we decided to match up in the My Team triple threat. So it's 3-on-3. We pulled up some My Team cards. Luckily, I was lucky enough to pull LeBron James. So we got some LBJ gameplay here for you for my first time on 2K26. And listen, a few things to notice about this gameplay. We were not able to customize our HUD. So we weren't able to turn off our shot meters. We were not able to change our shot feedback. We were not able to customize any of that stuff, okay? So that's gonna kind of hinder the gameplay a little bit. And also, it's literally our first couple minutes playing NBA 2K26, so there's gonna be some rough moments, but y'all wanted it unedited, and I understand why, because y'all want to see the game speed, y'all want to see how it flows, y'all want to see this, that, and the third, so completely understand. All right, now I also want to mention these are, you know, the My Team cards for these NBA and WNBA players, so they have their own animations, and as y'all know, they're not optimized animations. Like when we make our My players, we find, you know, the best escape to go with the best crossover, to go with the best behind the back, with the best hezzy, and it all comes together, and it's able to move a lot more efficiently and quicker and just better than the NBA and WNBA players because you got optimized SIGs. So my point is, some of the bursts that you're going to see in these gameplays, it might look clunky sometimes, but you have to realize a lot of these players don't have great SIGs attached to their My Team cards and whatnot. Like when you'll see the gameplay tomorrow and you see the builder and people, you know, being able to test their builds, and when we tested the builds, we could customize the SIGs. You're going to see just, it's a night and day difference in terms of how people can kind of burst and speed boost and change directions and start to chain glitchy stuff together. And then of course when the full game drops and like the whole community's out there labbing, it really looks like we're gonna find some glitchy stuff, because the bigger players, like obviously last year the small players could burst, the big players on this game can definitely move. You move a lot better than 2K25, that's for damn sure. Step back with Bron pulling up. Y'all already know how we're coming with Bron on 2K26. All right, so make sure y'all tuned in tomorrow. My Bron build is dropping and I'm excited for that one. But we're hot. We're up 11-2. Swag, I don't know what he's doing, but I'm trying to blitz the ball hand, because I know Mike was talking about, you know, how they nerf the plugs and blitz steals will be rewarded. So I'm really trying to blitz the ball hand and go for them. but I'm getting called
I'm
for a
buying
foul here and
2K.
there. You do see,
I'm
though, I don't
streaming
know if
that
you can
shit
tell
for
in
y'all.
this, in my gameplay breakdown video that I posted earlier, I kind of talked about this. When someone stands still dribbling, you can't just like push up against them and just knock. Swag's giving me too much space. Bron's knocking it down yet again. 14-2. It's an absolute flood. But what I was talking about was when someone stands still dribbling, you can't just bump them out of like their combo. But as soon as they start moving and like trying to drive or trying to run to the side, then all of a sudden the body up like perimeter defense, you see like right there, that's Caitlin Clark like pretty much stonewalling LeBron James, which I know sounds crazy, but let's ignore the physics behind it in terms of the, you know, WNBA versus NBA players. I know people are probably going to freak out about that, but they already talked about how it's literally just, you know, when it comes to my team, it's just attributes and badges and whatnot. But that's not the point of what I'm saying. The point of what I'm saying is...
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I can't wait. I can't wait to play this shit, bro. No cap. I can't wait.
When you're on the move, the defender gets much better bumps. When you're standing and you're trying to go, you know, tween cross, you're doing like a size up or something. On 25, you could like run up to the guy and just bump him out of that dribble combo. It didn't seem to be the case on 26. When they're on the move and you cut them off, you do get a body up. But when they're standstill dribbling, which I guess is like real life, if someone's dribbling at the top of the key and you're a defender, you can't just run into them and just knock them backwards and knock them out of their dribble sequence, right? That would be called a foul. So I guess in that sense it makes sense. But I'm just reporting what I felt playing the game. You know what I mean? I felt like when I was standstill dribbling, I could combo all I wanted. And then as soon as I got on the move, if they got on my hip or they cut me off to the basket, there would be some type of physical collision animation, and that was something that I noticed that was different in terms of the body ups and the dribbling. But first game on 2K26, 21-7. Bron went crazy, 8 for 8, 2 for 2 from 3, so definitely happy about that. But now we're gonna head over to the 2v2 courts. Me and Swag are gonna team up. So let's get into the 2v2 gameplay. And this is all users. This is me and Swag versus 2 users. I'm not really sure who it is. It's just, you know, letters and numbers as gamer tags, so I'm not really sure. But all 4 people on the court being controlled by users. So as you can expect, you know, we've been playing the game for 20 minutes at this point. It is going to be a sloppy gameplay. But at least y'all will get to see some raw, unedited gameplay. And like I said, we couldn't customize our player HUD, couldn't turn off the shot meters. There's a lot of stuff that kind of made it even more challenging. But you get to see kind of a little bit more user on user action, because although last game it was me and Swag playing, there was still 4 AIs on the court. You know, it was more team control mode as opposed to single, you know, everyone controlling an individual single player on the court. So this is a nice little change of pace. Now I am curious, what are your thoughts already after watching me and Swag play that 3v3 there? Is there anything you saw that you liked, that you didn't like, that concerns you? You know, just what are your thoughts? Comment it down below. I will be reading the comments to kind of see where your guys' head is at, and then maybe even answer some of your guys' questions down there if I have time in between editing all these videos that I'm trying to get out for you guys in a timely fashion. As I said, I'm still, like I said, I'm in the hotel room. We're on the grind. I ain't gonna lie. Y'all know how I get this time of year. I do everything I can for y'all boys, and y'all always, you know, y'all always show love back. So, you know, the feeling is mutual. I appreciate y'all, and clearly, I mean, the way you guys support the videos, you guys appreciate it as well. So I love that. But let's keep it going. Wemby with the block. Now, we've already seen Wemby has the 99 block, so you would hope, right? You would hope he'd be able to get his hand on the ball here or there, and that was a nice inside block. Now, we're going to a little pick and roll here. I go up. You see, I try to go up for the dunk meter. He takes me out of the dunk meter, but it still converts to a layup, and usually it is a makeable layup. It's not like a sliver of a green window. Like, that was a pretty decent size green window on the layup. And of course, you can see the green window. We already knew this, but you can see the green window again on the dunks and the layups. So that is a beautiful thing. And thank goodness for that, you know, revision, going back to the way it used to be. But check this out. Again, it's the shot meter just messes with me, bro. I try to pull up. I'm shooting a bounce back half bar. Iverson is pulling up in the corner. He's knocking it down. Me and Swagger down 7-4. It ain't looking too good. But I'm about to turn up and take this thing over with LeBron. Now, you're about to see here in just a second. AI pulls up and he misses, and then Swag's going to hit me on the kick out. I'm going to drive in and go in for a meter dunk here, and it's a good-sized green window. And, I mean, Jokic is in the paint, but it's not like a... You know, it's not like he's really like putting me into a contact dunk animation or anything like that, but it just feels like a good time to kind of talk about my thoughts on the driving dunks and finishing in general from what I saw. I did talk about it in my gameplay breakdown. If y'all didn't watch that earlier, I definitely recommend y'all check that out. But finishing on this game, one thing I noticed is size really matters. And I think this was true in 2K25 as well, but you couldn't really, you know, you didn't have the visible green window to back it up. But we know on the perimeter, right? If you're a tall player, it's a lot harder for them to contest you. You know, you're shooting over those and you know, blah, blah, blah. Y'all get what I'm saying in terms of the perimeter. But in the paint, I feel like the same thing is true. In the gameplay breakdown I did a lot of testing with, like... What's that? Ja and Ant, you know, smaller dunkers. And then I also had Giannis, who's, you know, 6'11", a much bigger player. And it just felt like Giannis was getting more consistent, good-sized green windows. Now, there was times where his, you know, shrunk and whatnot, but it really felt like finishing also not just depended on your attributes and badges, but the size of your player. And I feel like to an extent, it makes sense, right? Like, Ja Morant coming full head of steam, it's scary, but Giannis coming full head of steam is frightening. Like, that's a really difficult thing to stop. And although they're both great dunkers, great finishers, the size does matter. So I think it's not a crazy concept to have in the game, but it was definitely, in terms of what I tested in the few hours I got to play, it definitely felt noticeable that the bigger players could, you know, just kind of get a little more leeway in what they could and couldn't go up with in terms of not just the dunks, but the layups as well. The layups got contested a lot less on the taller players. Like, I remember I was testing with like Trae Young and Luka and stuff. I went up with Trae that got contested. I feel like I went up with similar stuff with Luka, but because he's, you know, 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is, it was registering open. So I feel like not just in terms of jump shooting, but also in the finishing department, the size and the height on this game definitely plays a factor. And like I said, I feel like that's how it was last year, but just couldn't really back it up with any visual proof because we didn't have the visible green windows. But check this out. We've seen a couple lobs now, and as y'all can see, not only you got to time them, but you got to select one of the 4 face buttons on the controller. And I ain't gonna lie, especially early on, it's gonna be an adjustment. Like, I missed my first one, and you know, I'm somebody that probably catches more lobs than the usual 2K player, just because I'm always, you know, I prefer to play on those dunking type of builds, and you know, I have fun with the lobs and the contact dunks and stuff like that. But it's definitely gonna be a little adjusting to having to click different buttons. I feel like just you have like a habit, like, you know, built into your psyche that you're just gonna automatically press the shoot button, and it ain't like that. You gotta lock in and actually click the right button. So that's gonna be a little adjustment. I think people will get used to it, but it also, I feel like, could deter people from throwing lobs in general, just because now it's like, man, there's even more chance your teammate messes it up, especially like in the random wreck or something like that. Like, we're gonna see a lot of funny moments with those alley-oops in the random wreck. I already see it, but check it out. Even though LeBron is big and he's got decent finishing ratings and badges and all that, still get a basically no chance of greening that meter dunk right there. So it certainly isn't anything OP. And if you watched the gameplay breakdown, there's actually some stuff I'm pretty concerned about that I addressed in there. And you know, I did bring it to their attention. I think other people did as well. So hopefully they're able to sort it out by launch. But there was some stuff with the dunking that logically really didn't make sense. But again, it is the community day version of the game. It's not the final product that we're going to play at launch. So hopefully they're able to fix those small things that we noticed in terms of the dunk meter being like just randomly inconsistent for no reason. If you want to actually see that, like I said, the gameplay breakdown is the place to go check it out, and that video is going to pop up on the screen here in just a second after we finish this thing off. Wemby's ripping down the rebound. He's going to hit me, and if you wanted to see a two-hand tomahawk contact dunk to finish it off, there you go, man. Click that video on the screen right there. Like I said, that is the gameplay breakdown, everything you need to know about